David Lynch is, without a doubt, one of the most well-known directors today. Most people know Lynch as the creator of Twin Peaks, without a doubt one of the most influential TV shows ever aired. And it's safe to say that in the early 1990s, Twin Peaks literally changed American television. Twin Peaks proved back then that serialized and serious storytelling that experiments with cinematography does have its rightful place on the television, alongside more lighthearted feel-good programs. For mainstream audiences, Lynch's name became known, however, 6 years prior to the release of the pilot episode of Twin Peaks. In 1984, the world saw his infamous adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune. Dune became Lynch's third full-length movie. In this video we say we're not gonna be talking about Dune or even about Twin Peaks, but instead I suggest we take a look at David Lynch's first two films that were created when Lynch still was an obscure indie director and became founding stones of Lynch's career. These two movies are Eraserhead and The Elephant Man. I am Dr. Onway, and let's dive deeper into David Lynch's early career. The first short film Lynch ever made was an experimental animated movie called 6 Men Getting Sick, which allegedly costed David Lynch $200 to create. 6 Men Getting Sick was made in 1967, when Lynch was just 21 years old. This short already bears Lynch's signature style of weird and creepy surrealism, something that later some people would call Lynchian style. His feature debut would be released 10 years later. When I began watching Eraserhead, I really didn't know what to expect exactly from the movie. The name of it obviously didn't tell me anything. And after I finished watching, to be honest, I still wasn't really sure what exactly I was lucky to witness on screen. The whole film feels like a long hour-and-a-half long dream. You can discern the story, but at the same time, its plot elements barely make a lot of sense and even feel disconnected from the main plot. The sound design is, without a doubt, one of the crucial elements of the film. The film is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. There is this constant industrial noise that never stops through the whole movie. During the moments when nobody speaks, it gets uncomfortably louder. It appears that Lynch wanted us to feel exactly the same way as the main character Henry, who, living in a cold, hostile and seemingly devoid of human emotions industrial city, is always surrounded by the uncomfortable sounds of the machinery, even when he goes to bed. The movie literally never gets quiet. This constant static noise, it's almost tangible. It feels like you can touch it. Being surrounded by uncomfortable sounds is very relatable since I live in an apartment building and there is always something going on outside my walls. Just at this very moment, as I write these lines, somebody is drilling the wall several apartments away, but I can still hear it. At some point, it becomes really hard to distinguish the noise from the soundtrack. They literally become one. The whole movie seems to be a metaphor of having a first child. The main character Henry and his girlfriend are having a child, but their child isn't a regular baby, it is a weird-looking humanoid mutant creature, whose cries make his mother leave Henry's apartment in the middle of the night, so Henry is left alone with this strange baby of his. Henry tries to take care of the baby, but he doesn't even know how to properly look after a newborn child. He doesn't notice that the baby is sick, and when he finally sees it, it's already too late, and the baby dies no matter what Henry tries to do, and he doesn't even do much anyway. Eraserhead is filled with amazing gorgeous cinematography and surrealist imagery that makes you feel dreamy. We don't know who the lady in the radiator is. I read the theory that the lady represents Henry's fear of intimacy with women, But that's just a theory. Of course, Lynch would not explain anything. And frankly, not everything should be explained. Sometimes it's fine that things remain obscure, leaving a lot of room for contemplation. Eraserhead is one of the most cinematic films I've ever experienced. This movie could only exist in cinematic format. It wouldn't translate well into any other form of art. It's not possible to imagine Eraserhead as a book or even a stage play. With a budget of $100,000, Eraserhead grossed $7 million, which further catapulted Lynch's extraordinary career. His next film, however, was a more ordinary type of movie, The Elephant Man, a biographical drama based on the life of a famous British artist of the 19th century named Joseph Merrick. Merrick was known for his severe physical deformities. Eraserhead was distributed by an independent company called Libra Films, while The Elephant Man was distributed by Paramount Pictures. And it makes sense that the second film of Lynch was made to be more mainstream friendly. Instead of a beautiful surrealist nightmare, which I think is a perfect combination of words to describe Eraserhead, we got a plain drama film. The closest film to compare to The Elephant Man is, in my opinion, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I mean specifically Disney's adaptation of 1996. In both films, the titular characters are severely deformed men shunned by society for their physical appearance. They are both abused by people who take care of them. Joseph Merrick, or John Merrick as the movie calls him, is exploited by Mr. Bites, the infamous ringmaster, while Quasimodo is abused by Claude Frollo. Both characters, after enduring hardships and suffering, find someone kind and compassionate who helps them accept themselves and opens them up to society. In Merrick's case, that's Dr. Frederick Travis, played by Anthony Hopkins. In the case of Quasimodo, that's Esmeralda. The Elephant Man is much more similar to the Disney cartoon because Merrick, just like Quasimodo, has a relatively happy finale of his arc, even if the movie implies that Merrick dies at the end. But he dies a happy and free man, dreaming of meeting his mother after his death. Victor Hugo's original novel is way darker, and the story ends with Quasimodo literally lying in the same grave as Esmeralda, embracing her dead body and perishing. The Elephant Man might be a simple story, but it is a very emotional story nonetheless. It's the story of how physical appearances don't really matter, for under the ugliest shell there might be the kindest and most intelligent person you'll ever meet. Of course, this movie isn't completely devoid of David Lynch's surrealism. The first and especially the last scenes of the film are pure cinematic jubilation.
Cloud faints, the heart beats.
The Elephant Man was very successful at the box office, grossing $26 million in North America, which established Lynch as a commercially successful director, which was the reason why he was chosen to direct Dune, a big commercial studio movie. Choosing an indie director with great creative vision seemed like a fantastic choice back then, but the experiment ultimately proved not to be very successful, for a whole plethora of different reasons. Dune is a massive philosophical sci-fi epic, and adapting it into a simple 2 hours blockbuster movie was ultimately a wrong decision made by the studio. But we'll probably talk about it later. I am Dr. Onway, and I hope I'll see you on this channel again.